Hey everyone, how are you today? I'm Wayne Neal from Guitar 4D, where guitar and the science of learning intersect. Today we are taking a look at the major pentatonic scale, how to play it all over the neck, and how to approach this scale, which is different than the minor pentatonic scale. Okay, so here's what we're going to cover in this video. We're going to look at the major pentatonic shapes, which are identical to the minor pentatonic shapes. And if you don't know the shapes or the patterns already, then I suggest you look at my minor pentatonic scale, because that's where I go over in more detail how to actually learn the shapes. And since they're the exact identical shapes as the major pentatonic scale, I'm not going to cover that here. So I'll put a link in the description to that video. We're also going to look at how to find the relative major and minor in any key. And so we'll look at that so that you can use them both and then switch between them when needed to. We're also going to look at how to approach playing a solo in the major pentatonic versus minor, and that's really the key to this video. And finally, we're going to do a few practice techniques to learn the scale faster, easier, and deeper. Okay, let's get started. Okay. Just to look at the minor pentatonic scale again to put the major pentatonic scale in context. So we have our first position and now our second, third, and fourth coming in, and finally the fifth position. Now just to review, what we see here is that each pattern plugs into the other one and on both sides. And the point I made in the minor pentatonic video, and it's true of major pentatonic scale, is it's just one scale. The patterns are there to assist you to get around the fretboard, but it's still just one scale. And notice I also have all of the root notes highlighted in red again. So all of the red dots represent where the A notes are on the fretboard, which are really important to improvising or soloing using both the minor and major pentatonic scale. So now I'm going to show you, the difference in how we get to the major pentatonic scale. And now here I'm using A minor pentatonic, and the major pentatonic is going to be in C, and I'll show you why. What I want to get across to you is that, so we'll get rid of these positions and leave just the A minor. And now you can see that I've switched to the C major pentatonic by highlighting in red the dots that are the C notes. And you can take a look at A minor again and back to C major. So the reason I'm using C major pentatonic here is because I want you to see that the C major pattern or shape is exactly the same shape as the A minor pentatonic. And so, but the key difference that you have to learn and understand is that when playing the C major pentatonic, now the focus and the shift is on the C. So the C major pentatonic is going to be played over C major chord progressions. C major blues. So a lot of time in the blues context, they'll play seventh chords. So the 1-4-5 blues progression in C would be C7, F7, G7. And the major pentatonic plays very well over those types of progressions. Also, you see here how to find the relative major and minor of any key or any two notes. As you see here, A minor is on the left towards the headstock. C major is and it's A minor's relative major is towards the body or the bridge of the guitar. And that relationship is always the same no matter what key you're in. So you're separating, I should say the relative scale the relative major and minor are separated by 3 frets, as you see here on the fretboard. So at any time you can, if you're playing on a C note, you can find its relative minor by moving up 3 frets. And if you're on a minor note, you can find its relative major by moving 3 frets towards the bridge or the body, okay? Okay, let's bring in the next pattern here. This is usually referred to as the first position in C major because that's where the C note is, that's where the major pentatonic scale starts. And so the one that's already on A is referred to as the 5th position a lot of times. In the A minor context, it's considered the first pattern. So again, what you'll notice here is that shape 2 plugs in perfectly, or shape 1, I guess, pattern 1, plugs in perfectly to pattern 5. And again, the C notes are highlighted because the major pentatonic, the focus is on the root note, just like it is in A minor pentatonic where you're focusing on A. Here in major pentatonic, you're focusing on C. So again, all these shapes are not only identical, but every single note is identical in the C major pentatonic as it is in the A minor pentatonic. You simply shift from your focus on the A note to the focus on the C note. Now, of course, you do a lot of other things too, but we'll get to that in another video. Okay, let's bring in the next pattern. Okay, so now we're going to bring in the 3rd pattern. And again, you'll see that I have the C notes highlighted. Again, you'll see that this pattern plugs perfectly into the pattern before it. And yes, so now the next pattern, I guess the 4th shape, will again plug in perfectly to the 3rd shape or pattern. And I'll have the C notes again highlighted in that pattern. And then finally the 5th pattern, which also has the C notes highlighted. So again, all those patterns, if you learned already each pattern in the A minor context, then they are identical for C major, okay? Very simple. Okay, so the last concept I want to convey to you before we move on to some exercises for how to practice this scale, let's get rid of all those notes. And we shifted, as you can see, what was the C major pentatonic pattern, and we just simply moved it to A. And now it is an A major pentatonic. So again, just like all the other shapes, we can move this shape anywhere on the fretboard. And wherever that note is, that becomes the major pentatonic, the key that the major pentatonic is in. So again, once you know all 5 of those patterns, you can shift them and slide them up and down the neck to accommodate any key that the song may be in, okay? All right, let's take a look at some exercises for how to learn this scale quicker and better and ingrain it into your memory, okay? Here we go. Okay, everybody, there are a few ways to learn these scales and get them under your skin and in your head and learn them faster and easier and deeper than you ever have before. So a couple ways to do that. One is if we're starting with the first position C pentatonic, is just to play up and down the neck. And that's how most people learn it, and that's how most people practice it. And sometimes people practice it for a long time just that way, like I did. And it's not till later you find out you should be doing other things. So one thing, another option is to change up the rhythm a little bit. So something like... That just helps you struggle a little bit with how to play it. And learning, that is really key. Once something gets really easy, you're not really learning anymore. So you want to introduce difficulty when you can. Not too difficult, not too easy, but somewhere in the middle. And so changing up the rhythm is one way to do that. Or another way is to play it backwards. So start at the bottom. So usually we always start at the top, but let's start at the bottom and get used to starting on those higher notes and moving up this way on the fretboard to the lower notes. Another way is to play root to root. Since the roots are so important, and I think I've highlighted that a couple of times, is to play start and stop on a root. And so you would start here on C, pause, and then go from there to the next octave. So that's 2 octaves playing C to C and then C to C, and then come down the scale the same way. Start on C, end on C. Pause, start on C, and end on C. That'll help you remember where the roots are and get used to playing to those roots and landing, stopping, and starting on them, okay? Now, my favorite way, more of a technique way to learn it, but it sort of burns it into your memory because you're repeating it over and over and over and over again. So this way is to play 2 strings and then turn around and go back, and then start again and go another string, and then back 1 string, and then another string, and then back. So you just keep going down 1 string, back 1 string, down 2 strings, back 1. And it really gets you used to changing directions with your fingers, both your right hand and left hand. And it really starts to burn that pattern into your memory, which is what we want. So again, a little bit quicker. So again, it's very simple to do that, but it adds just a little more complexity and makes you work through it and struggle, and that's where the learning comes in. So that's a really good technique. It helps you memorize it better. It helps you get more familiar with it, and technique-wise, changing all those strings back and forth and skipping to each string with your right hand and left hand is very good for your technique as well. And then finally is to sing them, to get them in your head and getting used to the sound of them. So you don't have to be a singer to do this, and you should do this really all the time. It's a version of ear training. It helps you get familiar with it. You can just grunt the sounds as long as you hit the pitch. Really doesn't matter what you sound like. And I can't really sing at all, but I'll just pick a note and da 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 la da 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 da. So just sing along the scales like that. When you get too high, you won't be able to hit the register, and that's okay. But practice it in the lower frequency, lower pitch notes, and you should be able to get it, okay? Those are a couple of ways to practice this scale and any, as well as the minor pentatonic, to get it under your skin, get it in your head, learn it faster, easier, and deeper, okay? Thank you very much. Okay, if you like this video, please subscribe to the channel. Please like the video. You can also visit guitar4d.com for more information there and also to take online guitar lessons. We'll see you next time. Have a great day, guys.